My name is Steve. I am the affordable and experienced life coach. If you're interested, my email is in the description. A lot of the topics that come up in these YouTube videos are things that happen in our sessions. So you're getting a lot of real life examples anonymously of what I've experienced in coaching people and helping them significantly improve the quality of their lives and helping them not to repeat the same patterns, habits, mistakes that lead to unhappiness, lead to lack of fulfilling, committed relationships, lead to damaging their health, damaging their mental health. We have so many innate automated patterns that we're not aware of that just really self sabotage us. And one of the ones that I see in coaching, because relationships obviously is a common topic, especially romantic relationships. When you have been alive for a little while, so you're not, in your teens, even in your teens, you might have a history of having a broken heart. But the longer you date, the longer you're alive, and the more relationships you have, the more vulnerable you have become, and you've opened yourself up to being hurt. And there's a lot of interesting stuff about how physical pain and emotional pain and the connection and parallels to it. I've even read stuff that just taking an aspirin can, I'm not recommending to do this, but just even taking an aspirin can help with social anxiety. And that our emotional pain is something real and tangible and leaves an imprint on us for our lifetime. And what happens, Eckhart Tolle talks about this, we develop a pain body. And that's just accumulated pain that we've accrued over a period of time. And it can even be pain that we've inherited from our parents, our culture, our society, our country. And the pain is oftentimes can lay dormant, oftentimes not, and that's why people will go to addictions to try to numb out the pain. But it's something that is always there in the background, waiting to be activated. And because physical pain and emotional pain can be very similar as far as how they affect us, we do our best to try to avoid it. And so when I'm coaching clients, and especially clients that are looking for a new relationship, are looking to meet a partner, and that's something that's very common. We start like they're single and they want to meet a new partner, and we go through the whole dating process. I coach them through how to how to be more desirable on dates, how to be less needy, how to be more confident, how to be more assertive, less people pleasing, how to just navigate the pitfalls that often happen to people where they weaken their chances in attracting a mate, helping them overcome that and coming from a place of strength and desirability and assuredness that they have something to offer the right person. And when clients meet someone new, or just this is just people in general, when we meet someone new, we are not a clean slate. We are bringing our baggage and our history and our pain body into this new relationship. And oftentimes, we've been burned, we've been hurt, we've been brokenhearted, we've had partners that have lied to us, we've had partners that have coached people that have partners that have cheated on them, they have partners that have been just completely dysfunctional and toxic, narcissists, partners who just perpetually lie, partners who need the approval and ego boost of being desirable by putting risque photos out on the internet so they get attention, or the emotional cheating that they'll do. And when you're a recipient of that, it is very, very painful. And you're bringing that pain body into the relationship. And it's so easy, especially if you're not aware of it. And that's why coaching benefits everyone, life coaching. It's just amazing how many blind spots we have as human beings that our family members, our friends, or maybe even our therapists, are not able to recognize. And when I'm coaching people, I say the truth is the most important thing. Honest, open, direct communication in the coaching relationship and with the people that we're having more intimate or romantic relationships with. It's the glue. Open communication is the glue that keeps relationships together and solidifies them, and it just makes a solid foundation for a healthy, thriving relationship. And most people don't know what that looks like because they didn't experience it growing up. Most of us grew up because we have parents that are human and that are flawed, just like we're flawed, not modeling healthy, loving relationship patterns. And so we just repeat and seek out what is comfortable for us and what is known. That's why you might see your friends, or might see this in yourself, repeated patterns of choosing the wrong type of guy or the wrong type of woman with some of the similar traits, maybe some of the similar dysfunctional traits that your parent had. And it's a vicious cycle because what we do is we blame the partner and we go, oh, trust is a big one. When you've been cheated on, you are very apprehensive about trusting people. It takes a lot. And we will project that onto the other person. Hey, I don't trust this person. And maybe part of it is you're not trustworthy yourself. But if you have trust issues, you're bringing that bringing that baggage in the relationship and making the other person carry it, and setting an unrealistically high expectation that this person needs to meet. Because when you've been cheated on, you become hypervigilant. And hypervigilance is you're looking for any warning sign to protect yourself from the same thing happening again. And it can be crazy things that make you crazy and are accusatory indirectly or directly of the other partner, like checking their cell phone messages, which I never recommend. Just kind of like spying on them, seeing where they're going, or needing to get them to message you or to video you to make sure where they say they are is where they really are, or trying to catch them out in a lie, or trying to test them, giving them little traps or snares and see if they get taken up by them of, hey, I caught you in a lie. You're not trustworthy. You're a bad person for me. I'm going to break up with you. Or I'm going to find a way to sabotage this relationship. And you'll see that especially happening as you open your heart to the other person, as you open up emotionally to the other person, as you become physically intimate, which I never recommend. Like that's a whole nother video, but really slow down the physical intimacy. And you'll try to play detective, and it's very, very toxic in the relationship. And this is what I have to navigate in coaching sessions, because clients are not aware of this. And then we say, hey, you know what? This person, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Nobody is perfect, and we just need to lower our standards, not to a point where the person, you're going to be in a relationship with somebody who's immoral or who's an incessant liar. But people are human. People make mistakes. People are flawed. And let's give them the benefit of the doubt and not just finger point, because you also are bringing baggage into the relationship, or their baggage they're going to put on you. And it's much better to be open and accepting and patient. I think that's the thing that a lot of people struggle with, especially if you've been hurt in the past. You're like, I don't want to get to the point where I'm super vulnerable, and then the emotional pain is going to be 10 times worse because I'm much more deeply embedded or intertwined with this person. And that's a fair point. But the antidote to that is not criticizing the person or looking for any little flaw or anything you can use as evidence against them. The solution to that, and this is so helpful, this will change your whole relationship life, and most people will ignore this advice. And I even have some clients, to their detriment, that ignore this advice. And what I tell them is take it super, super slow. If you want a meaningful relationship, if you're just looking for a hookup and you're just dating and just want to have fun and you don't want anything serious, do what you normally do if that works for you and if that fulfills you. But if you're looking for a meaningful relationship, really pump the brakes, because when we are alone, when we don't have a really solid foundation in our lives, where we have a nice circle of friends, we have a really thriving spiritual life, we have hobbies, we have interests, we have a purpose and meaning in our life, we have a career that fulfills us. I'm not saying every single box needs to be checked, but a lot of them needs to be checked. When you're taking care of your health, when you're working on your self-development, like all of those things make you much less needy. And when you are needy, you are going to hit the accelerator. You're going to hit the gas and just take this relationship at such a super fast pace that you're automatically going to put your heart in the hands of somebody you don't really know. And they can easily squash it, squeeze it, crush it, break it. And that's not what we want. And so you just have to think about, this is something that getting to know someone, dating, that whole dance takes time, takes patience, takes not putting all your eggs in that basket. While you're dating that person, you're still engaged with your friends. You're not ignoring your friends. You're not ignoring you're going to the gym or whatever you do to take care of your health. You're living a balanced life. You're maybe even dating some other people. And just saying, hey, I want to get to know you. And the only way I'm going to get to know you and trust you is time. So you're not messaging the other person regularly, you're not seeing them regularly. You're maybe in the start you're seeing them once a week, once every other week, and then maybe down the line, and it's not always going to be a Friday, Saturday night. It's more like you're developing a connection. And I'm going to use a word, the friendship, but really it is a friendship, not friend zoned, but a friendship with romantic interests. You got to get to know someone first before you get giddy and make giddy in love or giddy in infatuation and make reckless decisions. And that's why a lot of people have been burned. My clients, they have been burned in the past because they were not thinking properly. They were thinking, oh, this man is really handsome, or this woman she's so beautiful, or they're really successful, or they have a lot of money, or they look like they have all their stuff together, but they have a very dysfunctional relationship with their family. Whatever it is, when you check off the superficial boxes, like in physical appearances is a primary one, and you ignore, hey, what are their values? What are their beliefs? What kind of relationships do they have with their friends? What are their hobbies? How are they? What's their purpose in life? How do they treat other people? How do they take care of themselves? Are they an addict? What are their addictions, and is that destructive? Like when you look for the deeper core of a person and not rush into physical intimacy, you're going to see them in a much different light. And oftentimes we just do not do that. We rush into relationships for superficial reasons, or just, hey, in the person, you're feeling very lonely. And this is a person that came along. And even though they have red flags, you ignore it because you don't want to be alone. And that's why it's so important to have a solid foundation and a well rounded life. But that leaves you vulnerable. And you want to break that pattern, because if you keep on opening your heart and making yourself vulnerable, which is a high risk, low long-term reward, you are going to bring that baggage into the next relation and the next relation and next relationship. And some people just either are perpetually single or perpetually dating or are perpetually just out of the market because they don't want to experience that pain anymore. And it's sad because it is so fulfilling when you meet and connect with a person that on a deeper level, and you're patient, you get to know them, and you build trust. Then you could slowly start opening up. But it takes at least a year to get to know someone and to get to know whether you trust them. And one of the tests I'll ask my clients, I'll say, can you trust this person with $50,000? Would you trust them to hold it? And they'll inevitably say no, because the relationship's new, young. Even after maybe 6 months or a year, they might still say no. Then why trust them with your heart? And we really want to guard and protect our hearts and not leave ourselves open to people that we don't truly know their character, because we haven't been patient and given the relationship time to grow deep roots. And that just takes time, and it takes patience, and it takes discipline, not putting yourself in situations where you are spending too much time with them, or where you're sleeping over their house, or you're leaving yourself vulnerable to escalate the physical intimacy too soon. But if you do these things, always think about, the why. We need a strong why. Well, why do I want to do these things, Steve? It's just, isn't it better just to have fun and enjoying the short-term gratifications and pleasure? Well, if that's what you want to chase, yes. But most people, in the end, really do want a long-term, meaningful, fulfilling relationship. And it takes restraint and have some love for your future self. The short-term self wants that immediate gratification and pleasure, and the future self has to pay the debt and the cost and the price of that emotional pain of being cheated on or hurt or broken up with or ghosted or whatever it is. And it's also about valuing yourself. When you rush and escalate the emotional and physical intimacy too soon, the person, one, thinks, well, God, how many other people does he or she do this with? And am I that really special because this person's giving away their body, or giving away, their deepest, darkest secrets, or their emotional vulnerability? They're laying their heart out on the table like way too soon. It doesn't feel special. And then you also have the accumulation effect of dating and being physical with a bunch of other people. How do you think that makes your future partner feel? And that's really one of the beautiful things about coaching is we talk about your future self, and we talk about what type of life and what type of relationships and what type of career and what type of habits your future self wants. And it's our short-term monkey mind that just wants that immediate gratification that really causes so much of our future misery. So when we are in a dating situation, you go in solid ground. Hey, I don't need this relationship. It would be nice if things work out, but you're not fantasizing, we're going to spend our lives together, we're going to move in together, we're going to have children together, we're going to get married, and we're going to live happily never after. You stop all that. I know it's hard, but you stop all that, because that is a fantasy. And the fantasy is never going to be live up to the reality. And when you do that, you also give the person some space. If you've been hurt before, give the person some space to be human, to be flawed, and not pick them apart, because you're flawed as well. And be kind, be gentle, be loving. Be, you want to filter them. If you see red flags, you don't want to ignore them. But realize that it's so easy to sabotage your relationship for unconscious reasons, and you might lose out on a very beautiful partner, internally, externally, and just because of fear and past trauma. And I've seen it. I've coached people that have a history of, broken relationships. And when we start working together, they start seeing, oh my gosh, I see what the pattern is. I see how I sabotage my past relationships. And let's have some awareness in coaching. Let's have some accountability, and let's have a strategy in coaching. We'll do things in coaching that is extremely helpful, just like reviewing text messages and giving feedback on the text messages, or after a date, the next session, talking about how the date went, what she said or what he said, and how you responded to that. Because most people are making mistakes, and they can't understand why they're getting ghosted, because the person or the person doesn't want to see them again, or it doesn't work out. They're making mistakes that they're not even aware of, because most of the time the person you're dating is not going to give you honest feedback. They're not going to let you know, hey, this is why I lost my attraction to you. And that's something that we really work on, and you become much more desirable when you see your own red flags and how to deal with them and how to prevent them. And the last thing I'll just leave you with is, don't put all your eggs in one basket, one partner, but even one pool of dating sources. Now everything is done with the phones, and everybody's dating, using their phones and the dating apps and Tinder and whatever, all the other ones that are out there. There's some that are better than others, but you want to use ones that are relationship orientated. But that's not what you want to put all your hope in, because it's a distorted image. It's a distorted reality. So there are women or men that if you meet them in person, that you would have a much better chance than on a dating app, where they'll just swipe left and say, no, I'm going to pass. I don't like this guy because of his picture, or I don't like this girl because of her picture, or something in the profile. And so you should be always be putting yourself out there. Always, if you're going to the market, if you're going to the park, you're going to the mall, introduce yourself. Whether women or men, just introduce yourself. Say hi. Ask them for their number or something like that. Start a conversation. It's such a great way to meet people. We're not talking about making other people uncomfortable or harassing them. Just being friendly, being open, and developing connections. It's also great for social stretching. And that's another thing that we do in coaching. And it's just so, if my clients desire it, but it's such a great way to expand your dating pool. Then, taking up hobbies and things that interest you, whether it's sports, playing tennis, or doing yoga, or doing a meditation group, or going on hikes, whatever. There's a myriad of ways to expand your dating pool. Don't just rely on apps. Don't just rely on text messaging. That's, we want to have real communication. And text messaging is at the base level, then phone conversations, then video chats, and then in person. And be different. Bring something new to the table. And one thing that is so attractive to somebody you might be interested in is take a genuine interest in what they like and what they're interested. Ask questions. And it also takes a lot of pressure off of yourself. Let them do the majority if they want. Let them do the majority of the talking. Get to know them, learn about them. Don't be talking about yourself the whole time, but ask questions. When I was dating, I was amazed how rarely it happens, but it's not a skill that most people practice, and maybe that's just a sign of the narcissism of the time. But how rarely people ask questions, and even just when I'm talking to people in general, I meet someone and we're just having a conversation, but like get to know someone beside the superficial stuff of what's your job, what do you do and what do you like and what are your pronouns, whatever, all that stuff. Like get to know their values, get to know their beliefs, get to know what drives them, get to know what their purpose is, get to know what type of books they read, what things they like, get to know the type of relationships they have with their family and friends and other people. Yeah, and this can go on and on. So if you're interested in coaching, and we go a lot more deeper, and then we set up action items around these things, it's fun. And it really, people say, oh, I don't need coaching. I can talk to someone else, or, I'm fine. Man, it's a game changer for growth. And if you're interested, just shoot me an email. It's in the description. Consultation's absolutely free, and there's no obligation after that. And I encourage everyone to give it a try. It has huge benefits. And if you want to comment on this video of what your experience is of taking it fast versus taking it slow, and what you've noticed, maybe some of your stories can help other people who are watching this video, and how you might also self-sabotage. I mean, that we're just so prone to self-sabotage unconsciously. And lastly, if you want to support the channel, there's a PayPal link in the description. And if you want to see more videos on this, the usual like and subscribe. And these videos tend to be a little bit longer, but this stuff doesn't fit in a 10-minute video. We've got to go deep, and that's the type of relationships I like, is relationships that are built on substance and depth and really getting to know a person, and that's the type of coaching I do. Thanks for tuning in, and look forward to the next video. Peace out.